No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. And for all of those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Along with Dave Manouk, along with Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to discuss something that has not yet happened this year. That is the Winnipeg Jets losing in extra time. They get oh so close to getting the 2 points in regulation. They end up only getting one, dropping a 3-2 decision to the dastardly Vegas Golden Knights, a team that continues to have the Winnipeg Jets number and has for most of the time since their existence been able to be a kryptonite for the success of the Winnipeg Jets. And tonight was no different. Gentlemen, good to see you both on this Thursday night. This was a grinder of a game, I would suggest. The Vegas Golden Knights really showed out and showed off in controlling the majority of this game. And I know people are disappointed that the Jets weren't able to get the victory in regulation, coming within 2 minutes of earning it. But truthfully, if everyone was injected with truth serum, they would probably admit that the Vegas Golden Knights were far and away the better of the two teams in tonight's contest. Nice to see you both.
Yeah, nice to see Harvey Manouk in the chat. He's usually listening to the podcast the next day. So shout out to Harvey Manouk, who, of course, is the cousin of Dave Manouk and the famed Manouk dynasty here in Winnipeg, right?
Now, the question is, does Harvey have access to the family private jet as well? Or is that
Holy Dinah?
Is that a Winnipeg Manouk private jet? I need to know the dynamics of the family and how they divvy up the PJ when it has to go over the Pacific versus when it has to go over the Atlantic. Maybe sometimes they take the polar route and they go over the Arctic. We need to know more about the private jet, Dave. Dave's not even listening to me anymore.
Dave, I'm with Drew though. When you talk about flying over the Pacific on social media,
yeah,
you're just.
I did open myself up to YouTube buffoons.
I mean, when you've got rats like Drew and I, and you give us a piece of cheese like that, you know that we're going to be all over it, right?
Yeah, I knew I was in trouble with that one. I'm not going to lie.
Guys, getting back to the game though, I mean, look, Vegas obviously has had a lot of success against the Jets, both in the regular season and then going back to that playoff round in 2018. Everybody remembers that. They were the obstacle that the Jets had to overcome to get to the Stanley Cup final, right? This Golden Knights and guys, keep in mind, the last time these two teams played 3 weeks ago, they didn't have Mark Stone or Zach Whitecloud, right? Two of their regulars, right? And I was telling you,
the game was so much closer. Why it felt so much closer on the ice during that game.
Well, absolutely, and Victor Olofsson scores the tying goal. I think a lot of people forgot Victor Olofsson was on the Golden Knights. He scored 28 goals a few years ago with the Buffalo Sabres, right? So this Golden Knights team is absolutely deep, but I just didn't think the Jets had enough going offensively. I don't know what it was tonight. I don't think it was. I mean, you're not going to blame, tiredness, or you're not going to say that they didn't have the legs. I mean, you got to give the Golden Knights credit. They just suffocated the Jets with their pressure and their back checking. And it wasn't really until, guys, I thought late in the second period, because obviously the Jets didn't have a shot on net halfway through the second period, right? So it wasn't until later in the second period, obviously the Scheifele-Connor Velarde line started to look dangerous. Josh Morrissey had a hell of a game. Let's just say that right off the bat. I realize the Jets didn't get the extra point. I'm sure that you guys were probably thinking the same thing. Josh Morrissey scores on Aiden Hill. They're going to be teammates on Team Canada, obviously, right? So those guys are obviously, going to be going in the same direction come February. But this was just not enough of a complete effort, guys. And again, in overtime, the Jets, Cole Perfetti, wow, was he looking good in that overtime period? He's been oft criticized, but I thought, he looked great. He was turning the puck over. I think, was it Noah Hannafin, Dave, behind the net? He stole the puck. I think it was Hannafin behind the net. And then he had that.
Perfetti had a good game, I thought, for the Jets, and was noticeable for the second straight game, and even on the forecheck, which is not typically an area that we expect to see him performing well at. But I thought he was noticeable. I thought he was noticeable on the forecheck as well in the course of tonight's game. A game where there weren't that many Jets forwards or really players in general that you could say were noticeable for the positive reasons. To your point, Ezzy, I thought the first line for the Jets really struggled tonight. From the get-go, it seemed like
until late in the second period.
Right,
that's
until
when
they had
alive.
that flurry in this part. They had a flurry, pardon the pun, in the second period that generated 4 of the 6 shots the Jets had in that second period, Dave. But I thought Kyle Connor was sort of was fighting the puck a lot tonight. He didn't seem to be able to really corral it as seamlessly as he can. And Vegas really makes it hard. The Vegas is a bad matchup for the Winnipeg Jets. Sometimes there's teams that you don't play well against, that you don't match up well against. To me, Vegas is one of those teams against the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets just couldn't generate any speed through the neutral zone in the course of tonight's game. We know how big and strong and fast Vegas is, especially on that back end, just a murderer's row of great defensemen. And I thought the Jets, just have trouble generating anything. And we're frankly fortunate, to get to overtime. They were badly outplayed in the course of the game.
I think all of this could be true. I mean, it's funny. I've seen some people say blame it on the refs, and then other people say you can't blame it on the refs. I think it's kind of a little bit of everything, right, guys? I think that there's no question. I think Vegas was the better team. I don't think anybody who watched that game thought the Jets dominated for large stretches of that hockey game. I was there, of course, for 2 periods and watched the third from the Maison. And I can tell you right now that Vegas was
French for house, Drew.
Oh, here comes head coach Scott Arniel. So we'll continue this spot.
About the second penalty there that put you guys down 5-on-3. You felt that there's a lot that maybe gets let go in a game. Safe to say you probably disagreed with that call as well?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Gabe's was a penalty. 200 feet from our net, that was a penalty. Not talking about the other one. I think just they have their power play with 2 minutes to go. Anyways, it was just the first one was a penalty.
At that point, I guess mindset almost shifts once they tie it up, and just give credit to your penalty killers for at least killing off the remaining one.
Yeah, we still had a minute to go there. We still had to make sure we got it done. So, got ourselves in the chance in overtime. But at the end of the day, it just, you hate to see a game end like that.
You guys are a risk-reward team in overtime, and usually it's reward, at least this year. That's a way you're comfortable playing that, right, White? Right, trading chances. Some teams you see in overtime a little more cautious. But.
Yeah, I don't want to give up a 2-on-1. I think that that predominantly the whole overtime we had the puck, which is which you like to do and you like to have. I mean, it'd be nice if we got a couple more attempts at the goaltender, but we made probably a bad decision, with the puck, and we were kind of on a line change and we got caught. So.
Nikita Chibrikov, another strong game from him in all areas of the ice. How much has he gained your trust over these last 2 games in terms of the things away from the puck in other areas?
Well, I think that he's, growing. He's learning every game, every shift. I think for me, I like the player. I like the way like I mentioned last game, he's competitive. He goes to those areas. He drove to that net on that goal tonight. He does a lot of good things, and a lot of times you're concerned that maybe without the puck he might be a liability. But that line, they had lots of good looks and they had some zone time, and that's what you hope that when a guy like that goes in there.
Is it rare for a player to be, playing that way so early on in their initial career? There's usually an adjustment period, but it seems like all those intangibles he's kind of hit right on the head. Yeah,
he had a good season last year and he gained confidence from it. Got to play a game with us at the end of the year. Thought he was really good in training camp. We used him in a lot of top 6 roles, and he's taking advantage of the opportunity that's been put in front of him. And that's that's all you ask the players there. We'll give you the chance, and it's yours to go out and take, and he's doing a pretty good job with it.
I know that your players didn't like your first 2 periods. I would think you wouldn't have either by extension. And I'm sure you would have liked to see them create more. But is there something to be said about your defensive structure, your goaltender, whatever it is, that you guys survived to that point the way that you did?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Helly made some stops. We did a pretty good job. A lot came from the outside. And, they're a big team that tries to get inside on us. And I just thought when we did have opportunities, when it went the other way, I didn't think we attacked like they attacked. The shot attempts, I think, were almost double in this game. And we just, had talked about the success we had against Boston. And we got into attack mode. And there was times tonight, again, where we had 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, where, as simple as, Vladdy coming off the wing, shooting that puck off the pad, and should be thrown in the rebound. Some of those, that's kind of more the mindset that we have to have. Teams like Vegas, they don't let you just come inside easily. It's hard to get in there, and so you need to take the shots to break down that sort of coverage that they're throwing at you and get them to spread themselves out. And I didn't think we did enough of that in the first 2 periods.
As a coach, when you take that step forward that you did with Boston, and then maybe a little bit of a step back in that regard tonight, like, is that just this time of the season, or how do you I know it's not everything is a straight line, but how do you explain that as a coach, getting exactly what you wanted against Boston, maybe a little bit of a step back tonight?
Yeah, I mean, they're always 2 different opponents. These guys, they're a team, they're a veteran team that's won, and you got to kind of, when teams, you get away from some of the things that you want to do on a consistent basis, you just keep pounding it home. You keep trying to make sure that guys recognize that, there's a way we need to play to create offense, a way we need to play to, defending, not allow the opposition opportunities. And, for me, it's our team's pretty good at recognize when we don't play the way we need to, and hopefully that's for next game will be a heck of a lot better. Good. All right. Thank you.
There he goes, Jets head coach Scott Arniel, obviously disappointed with the officiating. He sidestepped the question, but I'm pretty sure everybody could read what was unsaid or hear what was unsaid when it came to the second Jets minor penalty that was called late in the game, which we'll get into coming up here momentarily. On the Play Now game recap, praising Nikita Chibrikov, as you would expect, but also lamenting.
He's on pace for 50 goals, boys.
Yeah, exactly. Lamenting that the Jets were not as aggressive and did not have that same north-south mentality as they had against the Boston Bruins. Frankly, Vegas just made it that much harder to get that going than Boston did. So I understand why Scott Arniel is questioning that or sort of upset about that. But at the same time, I don't think that the Jets passed up a litany of opportunities in tonight's game, considering Vegas had the puck so much more than the Jets did. The Jets were just, I think they were very focused and did a decent job at keeping a lot of Vegas's opportunities to the outside for a lot of this game, Dave.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to add is there's that play I thought of when it was 1-0, I think, for the Jets, and Nino Niederreiter, Adam Lowry, and Mason Appleton created a chance, and they just made that one extra pass, which is one of the focal points that Scott Arniel's been talking about. Is I don't think he said it literally this way, but too cute. Too cute, instead of just and choosing to pass up on an opportunity just to get a puck on net.
Right.
And you see what happens. Like Vlad Domestikov's shot, Rick goes right to Nikita Chibrikov, who's got his stick ready to go, and he fires it into the empty net. So that's what you want to see, because you're right. This Vegas team is too good, too structured. I mean, they're a hell of a good hockey team. They're the first, like, Jets fans have to remember. I mean, everybody's complaining, but this is one of the best teams in the NHL, guys. They're the first place team in the Pacific. They're very similar to Winnipeg. I'd say in a lot of ways. Their special teams they've got a good power play. They've got an average, below average, I'd say, PK, similar to the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
And
you know who Vegas is, boys? Vegas is the team nobody in the Western Conference wants to play in the first round of the playoffs, or in general at all in the playoffs.
Vegas is a hard out. I mean, and that doesn't even take into account when Mark Stone gets injured 3 days before the trade deadline,
and they acquire a $9 million guy.
Yeah, and he's out until the first game of the playoffs. The lather, rinse, repeat. Remember, Vegas, again, this is a bit off topic, but it's a justifiable point every
All
time.
right, hold on. Is this a Mandel rant? Because I'll finish the post-game recap if this is what's going to happen.
It's not a rant because I already ranted about it. But remember, every time Vegas goes out and they add a player, they have salary cap space. It's only because randomly and miraculously, Robin Lehner's contract just all of a sudden didn't count anymore. Remember, that happened this offseason.
Yep.
And I'm not belittling or making light of Robin Lehner and his mental health struggles because that's obviously priority number one. But it's utter bullshit and has been since it happened that, that contract all of a sudden isn't on their books anymore because he didn't want to show up for the physical right before the start of training camp. It's been bullshit since September. It continues to be bullshit in December. It'll be further bullshit in February at the trade deadline. And then when the playoffs start in April, it'll be extra bullshit. So remember that. Just always remember that about this Vegas Golden Knights team.
Obviously, Drew, our kids can't listen to this episode because that's a lot of bullshits.
I swear in front of the kids a little
No,
bit.
you're right. Just getting back to the game here, shout out to Eric K, who did the work for us instead of going on natural stat trick. He's got the shot attempts after 40 minutes. Like, that's just not good enough. And going back to what Scott Arniel said in his post-game presser, there wasn't enough pressure, and there wasn't enough of that shot mentality. There wasn't enough sustained pressure. And it's easier said than done against the Golden Knights, right, guys? Like, you could simplify this and just say the Golden Knights outplayed the Jets through 40 minutes plus, or you could say that the Jets just weren't doing enough offensively. I certainly didn't see as much as I would like in the first couple periods out of Perfetti, Nemesnikov, Chibrikov. Obviously, guys, Chibrikov gets a goal to get the party going, so we're not going to be too hard on Chibrikov. But again, that line, I thought, whether they were out against the Golden Knights' second line or if they were out against the Hurdle line, which is the third line, you look at this Golden Knights team, and to me, what happened tonight was a lot what happened a few years back. What was that, 3 years ago now, in the second round between the Jets and the Habs in the playoffs? Like, I'm just going to list off the Vegas Golden Knights defensemen here for everybody who forgot, or just because I want to show you how good they are. Right. Braden McNabb, Shea Theodore, Noah Hannafin, Alex Pietrangelo, Nick Hague, Zach Whitecloud of Sioux Valley, Dakota Nation. I mean, that defense is unbelievable. They're
the best in the NHL.
It's the best in the NHL, and they're big and they're mobile. Alex Pietrangelo still looks like one of the best defensemen in the NHL because he probably is. And it's just the Jets just didn't look. You talk about playing with speed and getting into the middle of the ice and everything like that, right, Dave? And you mentioned it, right? Like, there had to be more of what happened on Chibrikov's goal, right? There had to be more funneling and forcing pucks to the net, just going to the net and trying to get a greasy goal. And there just wasn't enough of that. It was too much of one and done, chip and chase, but a lot of the times it was just chip and no chase, right? And it wasn't until late in the second period, like I said, that the Jets started to have that attack mentality. And they're just not a team that play like for the Jets to be successful, they have to be playing fast and they have to be pressuring the other team. And you just didn't see enough of that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, ultimately this is a Jets team that cannot be happy with tonight's results. I mean, look, Boston isn't as good as Vegas. That's not, you don't need to be
in the same good galaxy.
Well, especially considering I think they're getting pumped by Seattle right now. So I was trying to set up the fact that it's not even close before Drew's chortle over there. But the truth is, you should still have been able to take some of the positives that you had in that game. And you were not a tired bunch. Like, you slept in your own bed. They practiced yesterday, but they weren't overly taxed by any stretch of the imagination. They had an optional morning skate today. So most of the guys who played in the game didn't even take to the ice this morning. So it wasn't as if they were overburdened by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
And there's no excuse, I'm sorry, in the NHL to not have possession of the puck to a sufficient degree to take a shot on net. And ironically, that sequence I was just talking about before Scott Arniel joined us on, well, not joined us specifically, but joined us via Colby on the show, was the fact that was the Niederreiter, Appleton, and Lowry, where they passed it up and were a little too cute. That was during the second period, right, where they had an opportunity to get a shot on net and they just didn't take it. And to me, that sums up the game. So people can be mad. And look, the Jets had the lead and they could have very easily won this game. Now, it's funny. We would have written it wasn't a Picasso, but you don't apologize and blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to play 60 minutes. And Gabriel Velarde's penalty was a penalty, regardless of whether you like it or not. And the truth is, it still would have been a 5-on-3 or it would have been a 6-on-4 story, which obviously creates a little bit more chaos and more likelihood that you can get a puck at the empty net, right, boys? But at the end of the day, you have to play a full game, and the Jets, they didn't play a full game. I'm sorry, we can't sit here and like puff up the Jets. Connor Hellebuck was good in the game, made a number of good saves to keep his team in it. There were some good plays throughout the course of this hockey game, but ultimately Vegas was the better team. The Jets could have won the game, but the better team doesn't always win the game.
And Dave, we're a Jets post-game show. I'm kind of torn on the Dylan DeMello penalty. Like, I realized that DeMello's reaction, he obviously knows that he's about to put the Golden Knights up 5-on-3. I don't know. He took the feet from under Mark Stone. Like, I guess like what I'm saying is like that wasn't embellishment. Like, to me, I'm kind of leaning towards that penalty should have been called.
Here's why I will counter that point. I mean, first of all, we haven't seen on the TV.
Don't pander to the chat, Drew. Don't pander to
the chat. On the TV broadcast, we have not seen a definitive view of that play. The camera was, there was the net, the players, the sticks. There was no definitive view as to what happened on that play.
No, but we know he slashed his feet.
Well, to me, it wasn't as clear cut it's not as clear cut, I think, as you're making it out to be.
I also think, I think the other thing is that we have to remember.
By the way, Dave, the chat is absolutely eating me alive right now.
Oh yeah, you're dead. By the way, you're dead to the chat, Ezzy. So you might want to stop looking at the chat. Just ignore the chat, Ezzy, because they're gonna hate you. Everybody else, T. Will wants us to pander.
Look, I feel like there's just like virtual fruit coming in all directions being thrown at me.
Throwing tomatoes at you.
See. As you don't want to go there. Don't look at the chat. Even Phyllis is against you, Ezzy. When you've lost Phyllis,
not Blendifer.
Yeah, well, Blendifer. Now Phyllis is against you, Ezzy. It's all over for you.
Stop. Finish your thought, Dave.
No, I mean, my thought is that I just thought that there were a number of things that weren't called. And Chibrikov got laid out. They didn't call that. I don't have a problem with that. And if you watch Chibrikov in the AHL, you know that he has a tendency. Let's put it this way. He would have been on if there was a power play opportunity and he got up. And he tries to draw penalties. That's what he does. But my point is that I thought that they let a lot go in the game. And I appreciated that. And I just think that it's a 5-on-4. Let's call it a 50-50 play, Ezzy. To me, if you're a referee, a 5-on-4 with 2 minutes to go in a hockey game, I don't think you make that call. Personally, that's my own feeling, unless it's egregious. But to me, it's not clear cut enough. And I'm not a zebra. I won't pretend to be one on TV, but it's not clear cut enough to make that call versus the Velarde one. I have no problem with. I think that's the right call. But I just don't.
The Velarde one is in the offensive zone. That's obvious.
Yeah. And so, but to me, I just don't like
a hook, right?
Right. And I just think look, a 6-on-4 is still a chance for Vegas to do it, but it makes it a little bit more difficult because I mean, that 5-on-3 was just unbelievable.
Well, and Redwood really sums up my thoughts as well. From the vantage point that we could see, and by the way, where the official was located, it seems like he doesn't have a clear view of it. It seems like there's bodies and the net, are in his way. And I thought DeMello got the puck first. So I wouldn't have made that call given game management. And don't tell me these refs don't do game management. Of course that they do. So in that instance, I thought it was not the right time for that call. But nonetheless, Vegas, certainly was the better of the two teams in tonight's game. On the deserve a win to meter, Vegas is far and away the leader in that category.
But like you said earlier, when you put a team up, it was Dan Robertson and Kevin Sawyer both commented on this. It looked like it was going to be a 6-on-3. They decided to not pull their goalie. Obviously, that's kind of at the discretion of the coaching staff. But the point is, when you have a 5-on-3 and it's, what was it, a 5-on-3 for a minute 40? Yeah, something like that. Like it was a long 5-on-3.
Yeah.
Obviously, like Dave's saying, in that it's kind of situational there. And so look, that's going to be one of those calls that I think most Jets fans are not going to like, and I'm obviously going to be the one with the terrible hot take. But I just thought, again, it was a hard slash. I'm not saying that the refs could have not let that go. I'm just saying that I mean, if by the textbook rule of what a slash is, taking the guy's feet, maybe it's because Mark Stone's
even worse. It was called tripping.
Yeah. Slash slipping. It was slipping.
Yes, it was slipping. Alrighty, let's
Only
get in.
slipping was your logic there, Ezzy. Get him out of the show.
Alrighty, let's go to the goods. Let's go. Let's break this down goal by goal.
The Play Now game recap.
The Play Now game recap here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. Big thanks to our friends at Play Now. They're the title sponsor of the Illegal Curve post-game show and the Illegal Curve hockey show. Learn to bet with Play Now, the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. Sign up and get up to $250 in bonus bets. Conditions apply. 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. The Jets do open the scoring. Vegas, they definitely controlled the flow of play. 12-4 were the shots on goal in the first period, and they certainly had the better of the possession throughout the course of the game. The first period was their most one-sided period. 72% to 28%, but the Jets do open the scoring. Nikita Chibrikov, who else for the Winnipeg Jets? He gets his second of the season, 2 in 2 games. That's his third in 3 career games. Vlad Nemesnikov and Cole Perfetti with the assists on this one. And it's a nice play that starts in the Jets D zone. It's, Dylan DeMello hits Josh Morrissey. Morrissey up to Chibrikov. Chibrikov with a nice cross ice pass to Cole Perfetti. Perfetti gets it to Nemesnikov. And then Nemesnikov with the shot / pass. He's shooting it for the far pad of Aiden Hill, and Chibrikov is going hard to the net, and he beats who does he beat? He beats Zach Whitecloud to the spot, gets the rebound, and deposits it past Hill to give the Jets the 1-0 lead. This goal coming at the 9:27 mark of the first period, Ezzy.
Yeah, and you mentioned, the zone entry. I just love how Cole Perfetti, with back pressure from William Karlsson, and we've talked about this before, Perfetti's the type of guy, he can stick handle in a phone booth. And I just love how he neatly comes over the blue line here like I said, with lots of pressure. And yeah, this is just, again, when we talk about north-south direct hockey, this is kind of how they write it up, right? A little drop pass, Nemesnikov puts it on, and then Chibrikov goes to the net. And you're absolutely right, Drew. I mean, Nemesnikov knows what he's doing. That's not a shoot-to-score shot. No. That's a shot to get a rebound. And so that's just nice execution. That's all that was, right? And, we go over the goals every Jets post game. And, this one, Dave, is kind of just one of those goals where you say every forward on this line was where they needed to be. And it's just nice execution.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, as in that, to me, the confidence of Nikita Chibrikov is just growing and growing. And one of the questions that Scott Arniel was asked this morning, actually, by our good friend Ken Weeb, was the idea of how do you maintain something like this for a young player? How do you maintain their confidence? And so Scott Arniel talked about what they did after the game, similar to what they did with Brad Lambert. They go over the video, they looked at the things that they liked from his game against the Bruins, and then they highlight some areas that they wanted him to work on. But he said that, and if you didn't get a chance to see it, we've got it highlighted on our website. But he just talked about the fact that he liked most of what he saw from him in that game against the Boston Bruins on Tuesday night. So from a young player's perspective, regardless of whether he stays or goes back down to the Moose eventually when Nikolai Ehlers, although don't plan on that being anytime soon, considering it, as I said, well, not even that, but as I said, the curious case of Nikolai Ehlers and his day-to-dayness remains. Remember, Nikolai Ehlers, for the record, when he was hurt in Vegas, November 23rd or something like that. No, was it November 23rd? I don't remember what the exact date. Maybe it was the 29th.
November 20-something. Doesn't matter.
No, I think it was the 29th. But anyways, the point is that whenever he was hurt, the next day they were supposed to be in Vegas. In Dallas.
Yep.
And he was they were in Dallas. He said, oh, maybe he'll play on the Sunday. And of course, that was like 12 days ago. So it's been a few weeks already since Nikolai Ehlers day-to-day. And like I said, he's skating
on IR. Once they put him on IR, there was no. To me, this isn't curious at all. I mean, I don't think.
Well, you put him on IR, but that's only a week, though.
But what Dave's saying is they didn't put him on IR until after the Dallas game.
Yeah, they put him on the IR retroactive to the Dallas game. Yeah, no.
After the Vegas game. I think Dave, what you're saying is that they
put him on IR after the Dallas game.
Yeah.
But Dave, what I think you're trying to say is that it originally didn't look like it was going to be long term. Now it's starting. Now over the last week, it's starting to look like it's long term.
If he wasn't on the ice, if he still wasn't on the ice, then maybe I'd be a little bit more curious case of Nikolai Ehlers. But he's skating. He skated the last 3 straight days. I expect that.
Yeah, but Drew, he's skating on his own though.
Yeah, he's skating on his own. He's skating on his. Well, look. All I'm saying is that for me, that when Scott Arniel said the other day he could be on the ice this week.
Yeah,
and everyone took that to mean, well, he's going to be playing games. I'm like, I don't think he's playing a game.
I don't think anybody took it to mean that he's
some folks did, Drew. Because,
boys, like Snackatoba, I've got the comment up there. He hasn't gone to Germany yet, so then we're still good.
No, but my point is simply that Nikolai Ehlers doesn't seem like he will be back anytime soon. Certainly not in time to play Patrick Laine and the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday, which just means that it's more runway for Nikita Chibrikov. We thought he'd get 3-4 games maybe, but it looks like it may be even more based on the fact that Ehlers is just now still, like I said,
I'm here for
3
that,
days in a row skating on his own.
I am here for sign me up for the Chibrikov train right now. I'm all in on the Chibrikov train. I'm loving this.
I will let him know, Ezzy, that you are all in on the Chibrikov chain.
You have to let him know in Russian though.
No, his English is pretty good.
Okay.
Excellent work on both of your parts. So 1-0 for the Winnipeg Jets after 20 minutes. 1-0 for the Winnipeg Jets after 40 minutes, as no goals are scored in that middle frame. A middle frame that was not riveting, let's just say. The Jets, of course, went a significant portion of that second period without generating a shot on goal. The fact that they end the period outshot 10-6 is really what I would describe as flattering, as they got 4 of those 6 shots on that one flurry late in the period. The best showing of the game by the Scheifele, Velarde, and Connor line came late in that second period. But for the most part in that second period, the Winnipeg Jets were just, the Vegas Golden Knights just controlled the play. If it wasn't for, I guess it was the diving stick save of Niederreiter.
Yeah.
It would have been a 1-1 game because I can't remember who exactly it was for the Golden Knights right now.
It was one of the Russian guys.
Dorofeyev.
Yeah.
I think it was Dorofeyev had a wide open net that Niederreiter just stuck out the stick and got a little piece of to prevent it from going in. But Vegas controlled the second period, and the Jets were certainly fortunate to get out of the second and continue to lead by that 1-0 score after 40 minutes. And they made it more than halfway through the third period before Vegas knotted it up at 1. Keegan Colasar getting his 7th of the year. He's also a very nice player, another Manitoba kid on that Vegas Golden Knights roster. He gets his 7th of the year. It's an unassisted goal that he gets. He gets it on. Everyone's waiting for it to change, but it hasn't changed just yet. Logan Stanley puts it up to Kyle Connor. Connor fumbles the puck, whether or not it skipped on him or what, just goes back to sort of what I was saying before about Connor, fighting the puck, I thought, tonight. In any event, it's a turnover that gets onto the stick of Keegan Colasar, and he turns and he walks in and he fires it past Connor Hellebuyck. Whether or not it was deflected, I'll leave to others to decide, but that is what tied it up at 1 goal apiece, a short side goal, at the 4:34 mark of that third period.
Yeah, and guys, let's be honest here. I mean, this is the fourth line just outworking the Jets' top line, right? Like that's what's happening here. You don't like to see that. Colasar, for a 3rd round pick, a guy whose NHL career started a little bit slowly. As Dave knows, he played several seasons for the Chicago Wolves, but he's turned out to be a great hockey player. Stanley Cup champion, obviously. But yeah, I mean, look, Colasar deserves a lot of credit here because, like you said, it really seemed like a nothing play here, guys, right? Like Stanley looks like he's going to break the puck out, and Colasar has some pressure on Kyle Connor, and he just kind of fumbles the puck. And then Colasar puts it on net, and as Drew mentioned, it looked like it might have gone off of Nick Roy's body, and it looked like to me, guys, that Hellebuyck didn't have a really good read on it because obviously Roy's a big body. But again, I mean, it wasn't a great zone exit or whatever pass up to Connor, and Connor obviously misplays it. So you have to share the blame there. I don't think Connor or Stanley necessarily, you can say they deserve more of the blame, Dave. But also I think just sometimes you got to just give Keegan Colasar. That was a nice play by him to have pressure on Connor and then just puts the puck on net, and obviously a goal that Hellebuyck wants to have back, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think two things can be true. I don't like that Logan Stanley, when you recognize there's pressure, then put it up high. Don't, you know that Kyle Connor doesn't have any room. There's going to be a guy on Connor, so he's not going to have time and space. It's one thing if you're doing a soft pass like that to Kyle Connor, he's going to be able time to leg that puck out of the zone, and you don't have to worry end of threat. Problem is you can see that there's a man on Connor, so he's not going to have that time and space. So Connor definitely fumbles the puck. There's no question about that in this play, Ezzy. But at the same time, Logan Stanley has to have some presence of mind. Flip it high, get it into the neutral zone, get it out of your end, and remove the pressure. He doesn't do that, and as a result, they keep it in. And then, add insult to injury, he goes into a space where he's not close enough to Kolesar to prevent the shot, and he's sufficiently far back to maybe do something where it deflects in and past Connor Hellebuyck. So tough situation for him. I'm not blaming him solely, but he definitely shares some of the blame in that regard, because like I said, it's just, you don't like the way the first line played that defensively. I agree. Like, there was a number of instances where they could have done something differently, but like I said, to me, Stanley's got to just have that thought process of get that puck high, clear it, reduce the pressure, and then they can try and reset and get going again.
1-1 at that point in time. The Golden Knights tie it up, and then to the Jets' credit, they bounce back. It's Josh Morrissey, 6 minutes and 21 seconds later. Morrissey, his third of the year, assist to Dylan DeMello and Alex Iafallo. And if anyone saw that shot, the first thing that should come to your mind is the following.
The Seagram shot of the game.
Certainly the Seagram shot of the game goes to Josh Morrissey for this absolute bullet, top corner, short side, blocker side, an incredible shot. Like, very much any shot of Fireball, also an incredible shot. It tastes like heaven. It burns like hell. Big thanks to Seagrams for their continued support of the illegal.
It's just Diet
curve.
Coke, Drew. It's
I
not
was going to say,
Fireball.
are you taking a shot of Fireball right there in a can? Are they canning Fireball for you now? Big
I
thanks
wish.
to Seagrams for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. This is just, Mark Scheifele brings the puck in to the Jets, to the Golden Knights zone. He leaves it for Iafallo. Iafallo over to DeMello. DeMello passes it over to Morrissey. Morrissey's able to walk in a little bit. And at first, I was going to say, when I first saw the shot and it went in, I said, ooh, that's a bad goal let in by Aiden Hill. But then I saw the replay, and it is such an unbelievably well-placed shot that sometimes a great shot beats a great goalie, and there's nothing the goalie can do about it. That's one of these instances. Josh Morrissey is first in, did they say 20 games on the broadcast, I believe?
Yeah.
So he know that he needed a goal, and he absolutely got himself a highlight reel one. This one walking in, and just an incredible shot to beat Aiden Hill to give the Jets a 2-1 lead, Ezzy.
Yeah, and I got to just go back a little bit, because I remember watching that live. The Scheifele line was hemmed in a little bit by the Hurdle line. That's the Golden Knights' third line. Hurdle, Holton, and Victor Olofsson, who used to play for the Sabres. And Scheifele's tired here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Iafallo's out there, because Iafallo, the fourth line's about to come on for the first line, right?
Yeah, Barron's on the ice also. So Scheifele's the last guy who hasn't made the line change.
Yeah, so I think, Dave, you got to give Iafallo a lot of credit here. He protects the puck. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Holtz who Holtz tries to take the puck from, but he kind of shields it. And so I just wanted to give Iafallo a little bit of credit there. He makes a nice job and gets it over to DeMello, who passes it to Morrissey. I'm with you, Drew. At first, you're looking at that, you're saying, maybe Aiden Hill doesn't play that right. This is just, I just got to say, I love Josh Morrissey. If I haven't said it recently, like, this guy he scores goals when they matter, right? And obviously the Jets don't win, blah, blah. I don't care at this point. That goal, the Golden Knights were all over the Jets, and they come right back down, and you just love that, Dave, that he just decides to absolutely rip it top corner. Just a beauty goal.
Well, the only thing I would add to it, is because you guys have done a good job, is that, Aiden Hill, the other thing, Drew, that you have to think of is that he's got Mark Scheifele right there. So part of it is probably thinking, like, if Morrissey does a slap pass, he's trying to prevent that as well. But it is a spectacular shot by Josh Morrissey, and gives the crowd something to get excited about, right? You give up the goal to tie early-ish in the third period, and now, unlike what happened to you in Vegas, you now take the lead with about 9 or 10 minutes to go in the period. So it's kind of a reversal of what we saw in Vegas. And, the Jets and their fans are rather excited.
Yeah, 9:05 to play in the game when that goal is scored. And it looks like for a while the Jets might be able to hang on, and then they run into the penalty difficulty, which we don't really need to rehash. Again, Gabe Vilardi takes a no doubt about it, takes an offensive zone, a careless tripping penalty with 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go. That sends the Golden Knights to the power play. And then 13 seconds later, Dylan DeMello takes his tripping penalty. Whether or not you like that call, I'll leave that up to everyone else to decide. We've
He's already got enough egg on his face, guys.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
We've adjudicated it ad nauseum. And then the Golden Knights.
Boys, I did say it was borderline. I said it was borderline, but I was leaning towards. I think the refs made
revisionist history with what he
like,
actually said.
I don't really
I don't think you ever said the word borderline once. To be
I don't think
perfectly
you actually
honest.
ever said.
I don't even know what the word borderline
I'm
means.
pretty sure you just gaslit us and the whole audience with that little.
I'm pretty sure I just
performance there.
can't even say the word. I think I just gaslit myself, Dave.
Yeah, you did.
Well,
You
just take a
changed-
sniff then, Ezzy.
You changed your tune very well there. In any event, Victor Olofsson, with 1 minute and 49 seconds to go, gets his 4th of the year, assist to Mark Stone and Shea Theodore. And the Jets did everything in their power to keep the cross ice pass from being executed properly, but Vegas was very patient, and they outweighted the Jets penalty killers of Pionk, Stanley, and Adam Lowry, and Olofsson made no mistake and no chance for Connor Hellebuck. And frankly, my thought at this point in time, with 1 minute 49 to go, is can the Jets get this game into overtime, or are they going to give up another goal? Because they were still shorthanded, remember, because this was a 5-on-3 situation. And we know, of course, that they do end up getting it to the overtime period. But Vegas had no panic whatsoever. And I think they made the right decision not going 6-on-3. 6-on-3 in that instance is not something that you practice. That's not something you really are ever drilling down on, in the course of your practice.
I just think it's too high risk at that point.
It's definitely high risk because the Jets get a puck, they can shoot it at the net. I also don't think that it's necessary. 5-on-3, that's a significant enough advantage. There's no question.
Especially when you've got what do they have, the 6th ranked power play in the NHL? I mean,
Pick your
it's
poison on the talent you have there. So, not surprised they didn't go 6-on-3. They were able to capitalize, and they tied it up at 2 goals apiece. And, the game was able to go to overtime, which, frankly, the Jets had the better of the puck possession for most of overtime. And I think Scott Arniel, you heard him in his post-game comments here on the Illegal Curve post-game show, that he was lamenting that even in overtime, the Jets were focused too much on the perimeter, that they weren't looking to go to the score zone, as I've now dubbed it here on the program, that everything was too outside, too looking for the picture perfect play that wasn't going to be there against Vegas. The Jets definitely had possession, and you know how important possession is in overtime, and it's unfortunate that a careless turnover and a bad line change is what ultimately decides this game. Hayden Fleury is on the ice, and he has the puck, and this is not an area that Hayden Fleury is typically on the ice with. He's not used to this situation. He's got the puck. The Mesnikov and Niederreiter are leaving the ice, and he sort of just blindly plays it back up the boards before the line change was complete. And the Golden Knights take advantage of that miscue, and Shea Theodore hits Ivan Barbashev on the 2-on-1, and Barbashev is able to beat Connor Hellebuck with it. I don't love the line change, but at the same time, from Hayden Fleury's perspective, a soft pass up the boards in that instance isn't the right move. You have to be damn sure of what you're doing with the puck. And I think he probably, a little bit of panic entered his game in that instance. He probably wouldn't admit it as such, of course, but I think there's a little bit of a panic about a player being in a situation they're not accustomed to. And I thought you sort of saw it manifest itself there.
Drew, you nailed it, though. I mean, it's two things. It's a horrible pass by Hayden Fleury, because it's a little backhand flubber into the neutral zone. Even if the Jets weren't going off there, that wouldn't have been a great pass, because obviously the Golden Knights were in the neutral zone and it was a man-on-man situation, right? So it's a bad pass by Hayden Fleury, but also an atrocious line change, which obviously leads to a 2-on-1 between Shea Theodore and Barbashev. And, one thing too, obviously Hellebuck hates the fact that went in blocker side.
Yeah.
It's a nice shot. But
Hellbuck expects to save that shot.
Exactly.
2 goals tonight. He got beat blocker side on 2 goals tonight, and that's not something that typically happens very often.
No, he almost never lets anything. The book, if there is one on Hellebuck, has always been glove side, not blocker side. And when I say the book, I mean anytime anybody's able to score with regularity. Usually, we talked about that in the Colorado series, but obviously a lot of those goals in the Colorado series were also high tips. I digress. Not a good pass by Hayden Fleury, and it's unfortunate, with the bad line change as well, because we talked about it. The Jets, it was a longer 3-on-3 overtime than we're used to.
The Jets have been finishing them early.
Finishing pretty early. So, yeah, I mean, look, we always say this, but against really good teams like Vegas, you make mistakes like that, Dave, they're going to make you pay.
Yeah. Well, and look, Niederreiter had 2 guys on him when he put that puck back. So, I mean, it was, if you're looking at the numbers were actually in the Jets' favor if Nemesnikov doesn't go off at that time.
Well, or if Fleury just, Fleury takes the puck and uses the net as a natural pick.
Again, I think everybody made mistakes. I think that's why I said it was a bad line change. It was a bad pass by Fleury. Yeah. I do believe that, because Fleury had pressure on him, right? So if he's got an outlet, then he doesn't have to worry about the pressure. He doesn't make that ineffective pass to nobody. And then the Jets have to jump on the bench because they're worried about getting called for too many men. So again, like, I understand that it happens all the time, but like I said, I would blame Fleury, but I just don't like the line change either. And it's a combination that leads to what ultimately ends up being the game-winning goal. So
and the thing is, Dave, sorry, it's an unforced error. That's what it is. That's what's unfortunate about it. Like Drew said, you're lucky to get to overtime. You're the better team in overtime up until that point.
Yeah.
And then an unforced error, it's just, when you throw in the Dylan DeMello penalty that made it a 5-on-3, and then it's unfortunate that the game ended like that, as opposed to what I would say is the Golden Knights more so earning it, right?
The only thing I just wanted to say this in reference to the goal that tied the game, and I understand how much different a 5-on-3 is than a 5-on-4, obviously.
It's one more player off the ice.
Thank you, Ezzy, for making that crystal clear to the audience and those listening on the podcast after the show.
I'll just mute myself now.
But I was just going to say this, the one area this Jets, I know that folks are concerned about the Jets and they're mad online right now at Winnipeg, a team still, I think first in the Central Division, because I think Minnesota lost to Edmonton tonight. So I think the Jets will be in first. I'm not 100% certain. I haven't looked at the standings, but the point
Dallas lost as well.
Yeah, Dallas lost to Nashville. I mean, it was shocking. And actually, I think a lot of the Central teams were losing. I think.
Yeah, Colorado's down. Colorado, last I saw, they were down. They lost 4-1 to Utah. So apparently Scott Wedgwood and Mackenzie Blackwood and anybody else named Wood wasn't the answer.
And I think St. Louis lost as well. So I'm pretty sure all the Central teams were losing tonight. Not that we're scoreboard watching on December 12th.
St. Louis did lose to San Jose 4-3.
Yeah.
Apparently Colorado, guys, is the first team in NHL history to trade both of their top 2 goalies before Christmas ever.
Well, they might trade.
I don't think it's going to help.
Let's trade the next 2 before Easter.
Anyways, all I want to say though is, while the Jets have a lot of areas of need for improvement, and I know that Dylan Sandberg, and we'll talk about Dylan Sandberg and Scott Arniel's comments about Dylan Sandberg. I can talk about it right now. He basically said, as we expected, that he's not back till the new year. Yeah. Still dealing with the broken foot. He's still in the walking boot sometimes, but they're waiting for it to heal to 100%. It's not there yet. You're not going to see Dylan Sandberg before the new year, to be clear. The one area of concern, as they mentioned on the broadcast and something we've been focused on, the Jets have given up a power play goal in each of the last 4 games. Their penalty kill. Their penalty kill continues to slip down to 22nd in the NHL as of going into today's game, maybe worse after. So that to me is an area, it's been an area of concern. Obviously, the power play has kind of masked things for the Jets a little bit, but their penalty kill needs to be better. They cannot have a 22nd ranked penalty kill. You don't have to be a top 10 or top 5, Ezzy, but you got to be in the upper 15.
No, we've talked about it a lot. Really good teams usually have top 10 PK, top 10 power play, or at the very least top half. And that's Dave's right. It's been a gradual, slow decline. And again, I mean, you take away the 5-on-3, there's still been a lot of power play goals against. 5-on-3, it's tough. That's one right. where you kind of, we always say this, right? Like teams with good power plays expect to score every single time they have a 5-on-3, the Jets included. It's just unfortunate that penalty happened at that stage in the game. And then, like we said, the overtime goal, obviously, it's not like, the Jets coaching staff is going to have to show a lot of video of that goal. Hayden Fleury feels awful about that. And they know it was, whether, we've argued about the line change. At the very least, we can agree that it wasn't a very good line change.
No question about it. 3-2 the final in tonight's game. The Vegas Golden Knights defeat the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets next in action Saturday night. The Montreal Canadiens come to town. And of course, we're next in action Saturday morning, 9 a.m., the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, getting you set for the Jets and the Habs and everything to do with the Winnipeg Jets coming up here on Saturday morning. But we have much more of the Illegal Curve post-game show to come as well. So don't go anywhere. Dylan DeMello had some interesting comments about the call that he was penalized for. We'll read those to you on the other side of the break. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg. It's the Illegal Curve post-game show. It's presented by Play Now. Don't go anywhere.
We want to thank you for not betting with Play Now and choosing our illegal gambling site instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
Do our profits benefit your community?
No.
or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Centre. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime, visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Centre. Holt Dental, the new official dentist of Illegal Curve, has a philosophy rooted in two unyielding principles: genuinely caring about patients and providing outstanding service. Being a patient of Holt Dental means more than just checkups and treatments. It's taking the time to listen and talk to each patient so they can achieve the best long-term health, functionality, and aesthetics for their teeth, mouth, and gums. Conveniently located at Grant Park Festival on Taylor Avenue, Holt Dental is dentistry of the highest quality in a comfortable and relaxed environment. For more information, visit holtdental.ca. Oh, and there's plenty of free parking at the front door, too. Celebrating its 40th year as Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best and most affordable live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For more information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
So you're a pizza person, you married a wing person, but somehow your kids are salad people. You can't pick your fam, but you can pick your BP meal deal, starting from $18.99 for takeout or delivery at bostonpizza.com.
20 minutes before the top of the hour, welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg with you, talking about the Jets. They drop a 3-2 decision to the Vegas Golden Knights in overtime. They earn a point, which is more than a lot of the other Central Division teams did today. So if you're looking at the glass half full aspect of things, you can take that to the bank and enjoy that 1 point, whereas very many others got 0 points. Dylan DeMello was penalized when the Jets were already shorthanded late in the game. It was a 5-on-3 as a result for the Vegas Golden Knights. They scored on the ensuing 2-man advantage. Here's what he had to say, courtesy of our friend Mike McIntyre of the Winnipeg Free Press. Quote, "I've seen guys do a lot worse and not get called. So that's a tough pill to swallow. We all know at the end of games or overtime, it has to be pretty egregious to be a penalty. He," meaning the official, deemed it so. So you can hear in those comments that the Jets defender, Dylan DeMello, did not agree with the call. Nonetheless, the call was made. Vegas capitalized. The Jets weren't able to keep the puck out of the back of the net, and they ended up losing, albeit in the overtime period. They'll look to bounce back on Saturday night against the Montreal Canadiens. Always fun when an original six team comes to town on a Saturday night. The Montreal Canadiens will be in a less than happy mood. They got absolutely spanked tonight by the bad Pittsburgh Penguins.
They'll be led by Pascal Vincent here on Saturday night, potentially, boys.
Yeah, well, 9-2 Pittsburgh beat Montreal in Montreal tonight.
Wouldn't that be awesome if he was the head coach of the Habs? Just saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, Montreal is certainly...
He's currently the head coach of the best team in the AHL, I think. Ezzy Laval's got to be up there right now, so it's not too far-fetched.
Well, Montreal is not the best team, let me tell you. They're 11, 15, and 3. It's open season when it comes to getting in front of their goaltending. So that'll be something the Jets will, of course, have a focus on.
But you know what the good news, Drew, is that if you're a Jets team that's worried about your your penalty kill, well, it's not like Patrick Laine's been ripping it up on the power play or anything for Montreal.
Well, don't take penalties.
All of his goals are on the power play, right?
I think so, yeah.
He's got at least 2 that I'm aware of.
Well, there's a lesson there. Don't take penalties. Don't let Patrick Laine tee it up from that spot that we all know too well.
Well, can we just talk about how awesome it is to have Laine back and contributing
and healthy? Yeah.
Oh, it's just great. I mean,
we'll talk about it more on Saturday, but I know it's not his first time back through Winnipeg, but it is his first time back since, of course, he went into the player assistance program. It's his first time back, I believe.
He'll get a big. I know what you're going to say. He's going to get a huge cheer.
That's why I hope that I hope that I'm sure that he will. I don't doubt that. But I think that cheer will resonate with him.
Exactly.
And I think that'll be a real nice scene on Saturday.
Jet fans are always classy, and they will treat number 29 with the.
Remember
when
Stamkos scored.
92.
Yeah, when Stamkos scored his 60th here in Winnipeg all those years ago, remember Jets fans gave him a rousing ovation because they know, obviously Jets fans know hockey, they know the numbers, they know the accomplishments, and they acknowledge them as such when the time comes for that.
Laine's love, Drew. He's good.
Ezzy, they wouldn't cheer Stamkos now after he broke Dylan Sandberg's foot, but they did cheer him back then.
Well, he got 60 goals. They were, when you get there, get that milestone, you deserve.
Dave, I'm with you though. I still can't get over the fact that Sandberg got up and tried to block another shot after that. I will never not think that is so impressive.
He didn't just get up. He skated.
Yeah, exactly.
He skated. He went across the ice. Then he went back and he tried to block another Stamkos shot.
That's what I'm saying. Like one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Well, they build them tough in Minnesota sometimes.
Absolutely.
How about that?
Sandberg is tough for sure.
There's no.
And you know, I'm shocked we haven't had a conversation about it, but that's definitely going to be a guy we should be talking RFA next year. Big contract potentially for Dylan Sandberg coming up. Not obviously a post game show topic, but
maybe Saturday morning we'll talk about it. We
just
can chat
saying,
about
boys,
it
it's something. It's funny. It's one thing I've been thinking about more and more, and I'm thinking it's very surprising it hasn't been something that's been a subject of conversation. But if you're the Jets, don't you think you need to lock someone up like that long term?
Absolutely. And like Drew said, we can talk about it on the Saturday morning show, but I think, Dave, one of the reasons why it probably hasn't been talked about a lot amongst fans or the media, etc., is because you have Ehlers and Velarde. Those are the big ones, right? And I would throw Pionk in there. I mean, the Jets, Chevy's got some work to do.
Well, speaking of Velarde, by the way, I'm pretty sure he got benched for overtime. He didn't play any shifts in overtime. And after taking that offensive zone penalty, he normally does get overtime 3-on-3 time. Any shifts in overtime. So I wonder if Scott Arniel maybe sat him down and said, you got to be more aware of the situation, the timing, and everything else in that instance. And as a result, he didn't get any ice time in overtime.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I mean, that's true. I'm just do I have 2 seconds to give some Jets some factoids? We should mention that the Jets put Henry Nikkanen on unconditional waivers. So he is going to be heading back overseas once that happens, and
that's based on his request, right?
Yeah, he's gonna go. He's a nice guy, a good guy. I enjoyed covering him in the AHL the last few years. He's a 2019 4th rounder.
Put on your antlers. It's time for the Minuk Moose Minute on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
That's funny, Ezzy. It still gets me
every time, boys.
Well, because it's not, I used to be the one who does it, but now I don't do it anymore. Anyways, so Henry Nikkinen, the 2019 fourth rounder, he'll be heading back overseas. We don't know where specifically, but most likely maybe to somewhere in Finland. Good guy. Enjoyed covering him. Always appreciated his time that he had for us here at Illegal Curve. So that's unfortunate. The Moose, of course, I'm not going to go through the game last night in Calgary, but they fell. They made a close one, but ultimately they did fall. Chaz Lucius and Brad Lambert, for Jets fans, they did play together on a line briefly, and then Lucius was the center. They ended up eventually going back to Brad Lambert up the middle when they were trying to create a little more offense. Lucius did not score a goal, so he like Chibrikov, as he could have had 3 goals in 3 games. Although for Chibrikov it's over seasons. For Lucius it would have been straight. So they didn't. They fell in Calgary. The Moose are in Abbotsford, but as I said to folks who asked me yesterday, remember the Moose had an 11-game losing streak last year and still made the postseason play-in game, I should say. So there's always a chance. And I would
There's
be
lots
remiss.
of season left, tons of season left.
There's lots of season left, and I'm going to make one prediction. We'll see if it comes true, Ezzy. But I think there's a part of me that wonders if Dom DiVincentis will be invited to the Spengler Cup, similar to the way Thomas Milic was when he was playing in the ECHL last year. So that would come out, I'm going to guess, in about 10 days. But I'm going to put that on the...
Drew, is Dave a Spengler Cup insider?
Yeah,
I'm not a Spengler Cup insider.
It's easy for him to go to the Spengler Cup in Switzerland because he can just
With
take
his
private
private
jet.
It's true.
True. Naturally,
While you're flying over the Pacific, you might as well just go back the other way and fly over the Atlantic, right?
It's easy for him to get there. It's you and I would take 3 connections, the milk run and everything, but Manuk just fires up the PJ and off he goes.
But
Charles, please turn the play.
Speaking of the Spengler Cup, we did have Jacob McFlicker back in the TSN 1290 radio days, so we have covered the Spengler Cup a little bit, right?
Yeah, that's right. So 7JP, 7B thinks my prediction is an interesting one. We'll see if that comes true, but I just think it's interesting because...
frankly, as far as I'm concerned, anything from here on out that allows Ezzy and I to make private jet jokes is totally worth it.
I think I will never mention anything that requires air travel ever again, and I will because I forgot. I didn't catch it last night, but Kieran Walton, Ezzy, the 2024 6th rounder, 4 points.
50 points now.
4 points yesterday for Sudbury, a goal and 3 assists, 3 primary assists. The 2024 6th rounder, folks, 6'6", hell of a good passer, has a great shot. He's up to 47 points, 17 goals, 30 assists. He matched his points total from last season in 38 fewer games. He's got, I think, 18 more points than the second closest guy on his team, and he's currently 4th in OHL scoring, although there's games being played right now, including goals by Kevin He and Colby Barlow. We'll have it all covered. I see Dave, illegalcurve.com, in the notes tomorrow. Keep it wrapped to here. We'll keep you covered.
And of course, follow Dave on FlightAware so you can see where he's actually broadcasting the show from as he travels around the world.
Oh, mama, I should not have said that comment.
Flying over the Pacific.
Big thanks to everybody for joining us tonight on the Illegal Curve post-game show. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, leave us some feedback. We always like to hear what you have to say about the show, and be sure to tell your friends, tell your family the best place to be after each and every Winnipeg Jets game. And again, on Saturday mornings is the Illegal Curve YouTube channel. We'll be back Saturday, 9 a.m., 2 hours of the Illegal Curve hockey show. Big thanks to our sponsors, our friends at Play Now. They're the title sponsor. Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. They have a great promotion starting tomorrow morning, just this weekend only. Spend $100 worth of gift cards, or purchase $100 worth of gift cards and or a 2025 season ticket to Rumors, and they will deliver it to you. No mail, no problem. They will deliver it to you.
You, though.
I don't know if it's me. If somebody's going to deliver it to you before next Thursday. So that's just this weekend only. If you're looking to do some of the holiday shopping, rumorscomedyclub.com, gift cards, season ticket packages, it's all, and it'll get delivered to you in time before the holidays begin.
By the way, if Drew delivers it to somebody, make sure you kidnap him so Ezzy and I can do the show Drew free.
Through the show?
Exactly.
Okay. Holt Dental, they're the great dental sponsor of ours. Boston Pizza, City Place, and of course our friends at Seagram's as well.
Shout out to Boston Pizza. Sorry, I was just going to say I went to Boston Pizza with the kiddos.
Yeah.
And I tried the Taste of Italy, which is fettuccine Alfredo, spaghetti, and chicken. Mwah.
Well, you know, I can take you to Italy. It's Dave on his podcast. If you want. All right, Dave.
This is really Dave. This shtick that we got going on.
Right.
This is some of the best shtick we've had in years.
The only problem is when I actually call you guys from the private jet when I'm on my way to Vegas or something, I'll be like, "See you later, suckers."
Yeah. Support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you Saturday, 9 a.m. The website, illegalcurve.com, is your home for all your Jets news, and our YouTube channel between now and Saturday morning. For Dave Manouk, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Thanks for watching. Until Saturday, we wish you good night and good luck. Thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.